And we're going to make a patriotic flower, and we're going to use an octagon base. So we're cutting an 11-inch one and an 8-inch one in white. And then we're going to cut 8 blue at 7.5, 8 blue at 7 inches, 8 red at 6.5, 8 white at 6 inches high, so that's the height, 8 red at 5.5, and 8 white at 5 inches. So the next thing we're going to do after you cut that with the cutting machine or by hand is you're going to roll the petals under. So we're going to use a larger dowel rod, so this one's about 1/2 inch, and we're going to roll the petals under. But it's easier for me to roll up, so I'm just going to start it with rolling up, and then I turn them over. Okay. And again, we're going to do this to all the petals. So these are quite large, so I am using the larger dowel rod. So you just roll in from the sides. And you can do more than one at a time. I don't like to do more than 2 because it's super hard for me to roll them. And again, we're doing 8 petals per layer. So again, we're using the octagon or this like the stop sign shape. It'll be a nice, full, large flower. And again, just roll in from the sides. So you need to use a tool that's smooth. So these are dowel rods. And as we get smaller, the dowel rod diameter, or like the width, will get smaller. Okay, so that's the first layer. So then we just want to keep them lined up. We'll do our second layer, and I'm just going to continue to roll them. Okay, now that all of our petals are styled, we're going to cut up the center of each of them. So since there's 8 per layer, I'm going to do 4 at a time. So for our first layer, for our 8 blue, so depending on how, the further up you cut on a large petal, the flatter it's going to lay. This is going to be a pretty large flower. So we're going to do 5 inches. So for layer 1, you're going to cut 5 inches up the center. So cut it as straight as possible. Take our next layer, layer 2. We'll take 4 at a time again. We're going to cut at 4.5 inches. Layer 3. We're going to do 3.75 or 3 1/4. Three 3/4, sorry. Yeah, 3.75 or 3 3/4. Layer 4 is 8 white. We're going to cut at 3 1/4. Actually 3, I'm sorry, 3 inches. And again, all the measurements are on your instruction document. So 3 inches we're cutting. Layer 5 is red. We're going to do 2 1/4. And then our last layer, layer 6, is white. I'm going to do 1 3/4. Okay, now we're going to glue them together. So we'll start with the largest one. And you're just going to take some hot glue and run it down the side of the petal. You don't want to go all the way up to the top. You lift up and over to overlap. And then I just run my finger down just to make sure it adheres. Okay, so you'll have like a little dimple at the top there. So I hold it apart with my 2 fingers. Add a strip of hot glue. Lift up and over. So that the overlap that we're doing and how far we cut up the center is how far it's gonna, the petal's gonna sit off the ground. So we lift up, oops, up and over. So when the petal's glued, it's up off the ground. Again, we're just lifting them all up and over to overlap them. Just adding some more glue to my hot glue gun. Again, this one is 8 petals per layer. Lift up and over. And then just run your finger down just to make sure it adheres. Okay, so layer 1 is done now. So then we flip these over and we're going to do this to all of the petals. Next is you want to cut 16 white stars, and these are 2 inches wide. So you're going to glue them onto each of the blue petals. I'm just gluing them on first before we assemble. It's a lot easier. I've done it afterwards, but either or, whatever you prefer. You can use vinyl if you prefer. If you have a punch, you can punch them out as well instead of cutting them with your cutting machine. So every petal on the first 2 layers in the blue are all getting the stars. I'm just doing a circular, like a circle glue dot. Okay, and then take layer 2, and we're going to do the same exact thing. We can use the same size. They fit perfectly. And just put it in the middle of the petal. Okay, so now that's all done. So we're going to now start assembling. So I did glue my 11-inch base to a 10-inch cake round just for added support, and I like that for when hanging larger flowers. Then we're going to glue my 8-inch base on. So I did make marks about 1.5 inches in, just so I can line it up evenly. Okay, it's time for a new glue gun to go in. We're going to line up our edges at those pencil marks. Okay, so I'm going to move these out of the way. I keep them in order. So our first layer, layer 1, is going to be 1.5 inches in, which is exactly where I placed my 8-inch octagon. My petals may overlap, so what I'm going to do is flip it towards me and just add some glue on half of the petal. Okay, flip it up, and now we're going to place it evenly on this shape on the side of the hexagon, right at the base there. And then we're going to turn it to the left or counterclockwise. And now we're going to go all the way across. You want a generous amount of glue. And then rotate to the left or counterclockwise. And 2 glue guns going, one smaller and one larger. Rotate it to the left or counterclockwise. Again, this has 8 petals. So play around with your base shapes. It doesn't always have to be like a hexagon. And I'm actually going in a little bit further. And rotate. So we just keep rotating to the left or counterclockwise. It's about a 22-inch flower approximately. Now we're going to tuck this one underneath just a little bit, and then we're going to glue this one down. Okay, so now we turn it so that way layer 2 is going to go in between these 2 petals, and we're going to keep it even with layer 1. So we're just going to go right up to the edge. We're going to flip it towards us, and we're only going to do half of it just because it may overlap. And we like to tuck that last petal underneath. So go right in between and right up to the edge. Turn it to the left. And now your second petal of layer 2, you can do glue all the way across. And rotate. Oh, these are beautiful. This is the fun part when you start to see your flower bloom, come together. Never know what it's going to look like. That's what's so much fun about paper flowers, especially large ones. So this one was inspired by my small one I made using the Buddy mini flower. Where that one has 12 petals per layer, this is only 10. Or 8, sorry. Oh my god, I can't count. Again, we're going in between the petals of layer 1 right up to the edge and pressing down. This blue is the navy from Recollections from Michael's store. The white is Nina Bright White. They're all 65-pound cardstock. The Nina Bright White can be found at Walmart, or you can purchase it on Amazon, and it comes in a 250 quantity pack, which is nice. My Walmart never tends to have it anymore since the pandemic. I'm going to tuck that under a little bit and press down, and then we're going to glue that. I'm going to just rotate it towards me, lift it up, and we glue it. And get rid of our strings. Okay, so now we're on layer 3, which is going to align. Now you can see all my, I zoomed out a little bit. Layer 1 and 3, so all your odd number layers are going to line up, and then your even layers. So we're going to go here and we're going to make our marks for where we want layer 3 to go. So we need our pencil, flexible ruler. So layer 3 is red. So we figure we can probably come in, oops. Come in a ½ an inch again. That's usually my normal. I was ready to glue and we didn't even make our marks. So a ½ an inch, rotate it, ½ an inch. So I'm going to just do, so I have 1, 2, 3 layers. So I'm just going to do 3 ½ inch marks. That way the next 3 layers are marked. We just go around and we mark where the 2 petals meet. Okay, So now we can start our red petal, and again we're going to flip it towards us and only do half. Because we are going to tuck that last petal in. So line it up and bring it up to your pencil mark and press. We rotate to the left. And you can add glue all the way across. And again, we line it up with layer 1 in between the petals of layer 2 up to our pencil mark. And press. Rotate to the left or counterclockwise. Again, line it up with layer 1 in between the petals of layer 2 up to our first pencil mark. Press. Rotate to the left or counterclockwise. Again, line it up. Bring it up to the pencil line. And we're adding a generous amount of glue to the bottom of the petals. We're lining it up with layer 1 and to your first pencil mark. Rotate. Gives it a nice shape, the octagon, nice round shape. Line it up and bring it up to that pencil. So the pencil marks sure make it super fast and easy to glue down, to line everything up. And we're going all the way across. This is our last petal. We line it up and bring it up to that pencil mark. Press it down and then we can add glue to that last mark, or last petal. Okay, so now we're on layer 4, or I'm sorry, layer 5. No, 4. Wait, 1, 2. Layer 4. Oh my God, I can't count. And we're going to line them up. So we're only going to do on half the petal. So 2 and 4 are lined up. So we're going up to our line. It's in between the petals of layer 3. And rotate. Now you can add glue all the way across. So this will be mimicking our stripes, the red, the white, the red, the white. Line it up with layer 2 and bring it up to our pencil line. Again, lining it up with layer 2 up to our pencil line. She's beautiful. Almost, oops, there. Then our last one we tuck underneath. And then we go back and we add glue right here and press. So I like to bring that as my starting point for our next flower or our next layer. So layer 5, so layer 1, 3, and then 5 are going to be lined up. And that's coming in 1/2 inch, so we go back to the red. And we're going to fold it towards us. And do half of the petal. So line it up and bring it in. And then rotate to the left or counterclockwise. I'm just going to continue to go around. We're rotating again. Layers 1, 3, and now 5 are lined up. The petal goes in between the petals of layer 4. So it's lined up in between these petals and up to your line. And press. Rotate. Okay, and we're doing our last petal. We're going to tuck it under petal number 1. So we do put glue all the way across. And tuck it under. And now we're going to glue petal 1 down. So we start back over there. And now we need to make our pencil line, so we're going to come in 1/2 inch. Apparently I couldn't count before. So where all the petals meet, you're making a line. Okay, so then we're going to add glue to 1/2 of the petal. We're going to line it up and bring it up to the line. And then we rotate. Now we can add glue all the way across. Line it up. Rotate. So our even layers are lined up now. So 2, 4, and now 6. She's so pretty. And you could change the base shape. You could do 5, you can do 7, 10, 12, 6, whatever you prefer. So I'll just change up the flower similar, but you would make it the same way. Just you're cutting a different amount of petals per layer, depending on the shape that you use. So just line it up and put it in between up to that pencil line. Rotate to the left or counterclockwise. And we have one more petal, and then we have the center. So lift that up. Just need a little bit of glue. And then our flower is created, and now we just need a fun center. Sorry about that. So now we're going to create our centers. So you're going to cut them with your cutting machine. And we're going to roll the centers with our metal ball stylus and on a flower shaping mat. So it needs to be a soft foam mat. And then you just take the circle and the metal ball stylus, and roll it around the center where it meets the base. So it lifts the petals up. So we're just going to do it in order. So the red, the blue. And then what we can do is we can pull in the smaller blue ones, just a little bit. So we're going to just keep them in order. And then white. Since we have a large center, we're going to do a few of them. Oops. Again, take the metal ball stylus and roll right around the center. A red, and lastly a blue. Okay, now we're going to glue them in the center. Take our large flower. Barely fits. We're going to add some hot glue. Then we add our blue. And again, I'm just adding some hot glue to the bottom. And then we place it in between. Okay, and then the red. Nice colorful center. Then we're going to pull the small ones forward, the shorter ones. Add your glue. Okay. There you have your flower.